Hi everyone, and welcome back to the channel. What if the next upgrade to your Google One plan could draft your emails, design hero images, build dashboards, and even run live code without leaving your browser? You loved my Mastering ChatGPT Plus in 2025 tutorial. So today we're bringing that same hands-on approach to Google's own ecosystem. Gemini Advanced unlocks more than 30 plus AI features built right into the workspace, and many companies are already paying for them by default. Knowing how to use these tools could be the edge that sets you apart. And that's why in this video you will see redo and double check tricks inside Gemini Chat, one-tap exports to Docs and Gmail, image generation, voice control prompts, live editing and code execution in Canvas, data analysis that turns into charts or JSON files, deep research feature with cited sources and audio summaries, custom gens, similar feature like custom GPTs, magic add shortcuts to quickly access your Gmail, Docs, Sheets, and Calendar, even like any document on your workspace, plus a quick sneak peek at NotebookLM and Google AI Studio. Smash that like button so more builders discover these workflow boosts, and let's dive straight in. So in order to access Google's AI feature, we need to go to gemini.google.com/app. And here is the interface, the way it actually looks. As we can see here we got the chat, similar to ChatGPT or any other large language model. We have different features that we're gonna explore here. Here you can find different models that we're going to be using. Here you can see the gems and previous chats that we can explore later. And as for the settings, we don't have really that many settings as we have in ChatGPT. The only difference is you can switch between the themes. You can have a help center. You can access different apps and other stuff, whether you're providing access of your Gemini to your apps or not. And we're going to discuss that a little bit later. And basically, yeah, that's basically how it works. And here you have your account. Okay, and this is actually a free account, and you can actually access all the paid features for free. You probably do have certain limits, and I'll be honest with you, I don't know what are the limits actually. I know that you will have a cap on deep researches that you can make. You will have only an option to make like a few deep research features, but we're gonna talk about this a little bit later. So here we have a standard chat interface as we would have is any other large language model. And we can ask some random things. So say, how is it going, for example? Okay, and the model is going to respond with some sort of stuff. And I'm using 2.0 Flash model. Here you can like or dislike response. And basically this is needed for Google to provide them feedback on how they should train their models in the future. So if you're willing to help, you should probably leave the feedback. I'm actually never doing this. So then you can also hit redo button. If you don't like the response, you want the model to regenerate, you can hit regenerate. And here you can actually compare the responses. Unlike ChatGPT, actually, if I'm gonna build up on this conversation and this chat, it's gonna erase all the previous responses right here. So if I select the second response and ask, what is the weather now? I will not be able anymore to switch back to the previous conversation right here. Make sure if you select the response that you like, you're just continuing with the response that you like. Actually, here it provided me with the weather now in Riga, Latvia. And how did actually it know that I'm based in Latvia? Because I didn't explicitly tell it so. Well, it actually knows your location. It says Riga, Latvia, update location. It has your IP address coming from Riga, Latvia, and that's how it actually knows where I'm based at. And that's why it provides me the weather for my actually city where I'm sitting right now. So don't be afraid that it knows too much information about you. It's just the IP address where it's coming from. All right, what else can we do? We can also share that conversation on social media if you want to send it to somebody or just you like the response. You can draft this thing in Gmail. So if you go and open the Gmail, you will have your email open up right here and you just click whoever you want to send it to. Okay, so that's just time savers for somebody if you're asking to send an email or generate an email response to this email thread. You don't need to copy paste that. You can just go share and draft it in the Gmail. And finally, you can export it in Docs. And we're going to be doing this similarly in the other feed. So I'm not going to export it, but if you just like it, you can do that as well. And the other thing is here is you can listen of what it actually tells.
Things are going well here in Riga. It's a pleasant Monday afternoon. How are things on your end?
So if you want to chat with a model or you wanted to just say it, that's how it works. And the other thing is you can double check the response. So this is a cool feature that ChatGPT doesn't have. You can check if the facts that are provided in the response are actually true. So for example, here I can go and double check the response to make sure that the weather in Riga is really the one that it actually provided with. So here we go, check completed, no results found, understand the results. So basically it will highlight to you the text that will have the green one. It means it found other references on Google that contain a similar text. So you might consider this as like a credible source. If it's going to be the red one, it means that it's not confident in its results. So not highlighted text, there's no information. Basically this one, well, it didn't find any confirmation sort of on Google or for whatever reason, I don't know. But I think the weather is pretty much correct to at least to my knowledge. But yeah, if you would have like some textual response, but the model provides some facts, you can go and check that with double check response feature. Okay, so let's actually start a new chat and let's explore what are the other things that we have here. We can add different images. So let me, for example, add an image, this image, and let me actually on the last weekend I was actually in Warsaw, Poland, and I made a picture of this building. So let me actually ask what is this building. So basically Gemini, similarly to ChatGPT, can actually analyze the pictures. So it says the image shows St. Anne's Church in Warsaw. That's actually exactly correct. And it has a source image providing, the image that I provided as a source. And it just understood from the image that that's exactly the church that I was passing by. Another thing, we can add different files. So if I go here and add a file which has 1,000 different marketing prompts, I'm gonna say using the file attach, find the best prompt to generate a killing hook for my new video. So let's actually see if it can find the exact prompt in the file that is right here. I'm actually not sure if it's right here. I'm assuming there should be something. Okay, so it says, I can help you with that. I'm going through the document. The most relevant prompt is the following: craft a video script introduction for your business that captures attention, right? So the document probably didn't have the exact prompt for a hook, but it found the one that is kind of most similar. So creating a video script, which will include the hook itself probably. So yeah, basically you can use document reference for any of your chats like ever before, and you can also add different files from your Google Drive. So let me actually go to Google Drive. Let me pre-select this file. So that's the product database. That's the CSV format file. You can open it in Excel. It's basically a database of different products that we have. And I can ask it to make actually analysis of this file. So can you make a high-level analysis of the data? Okay, so let me actually see if the model that we're using, and actually 2.5 is sort of the least useful model out of the ones that are provided here. So 2.5 Flash and Pro are kind of a little bit more advanced, but we're gonna take a look on these a little bit later. So it made some sort of analysis, but let's actually ask it, can you make charts of the findings? Because if we want to visually see if there is any evidence or reasonable findings that actually the model found in the data. And what we actually are seeing right now, even like 2.0 Flash model, which is sort of one of the basic models, it shows you step-by-step reasoning. So it tells you what it's actually doing. So it's saying, I'll make some charts to visualize the product data. I'm having trouble reading the data, organize the data for plotting. And you can see actually show the code that it actually has written to generate the plots for the graph. And as you can see, there are quite a lot of code, by the way. So here, the first one, this is the actual price and the selling price. And this graph is actually horrible. I mean, it definitely messed up how it's supposed to be used, but this graph is not good, no good. But this graph is actually really nice. So basically it's saying distribution of average rating. As we can see, the average rating is about 3.9. It's sort of similar to normal distribution, but not really. And what we can do with the chart, first of all, we can increase the chart. And if we want to sort of download it, we can download the chart as an image and then import into our presentation, or we could save it as a JSON file, and that might be needed for other purposes. Well, another thing is you can customize, and that's pretty cool because in ChatGPT we didn't have this feature. We can customize the chart. We can say, I want a vertical chart, or I want a line chart, or I want, scatter plot. So definitely for this one, we don't want a scatter plot, but something like horizontal probably fits the best. And we can change the title, say distribution average ratings. That should be just fine. Here, the count number of ratings, and here would be average rating or rating on scale of 5. Okay, something like this. So you can change that, you can update the graph. It actually turned this to a vertical. I want it to be like this, and then you can go and download that file as an image on your computer. Okay, you can also copy paste, but that's basically the same thing. And the other thing that is pretty cool right here, you can also view that in table. And if you need this in table, you can export it to the Google Sheets. And that way it basically provides you the same data that you actually had. But for some other reasons, if it will grab the information from Google, for example, generate you a chart, you can actually access the table of that chart. So sometimes you might be willing to work with some sort of data, not the charts directly. Right, so here we can see some other charts, which is pretty nice, and it's all basically based on the data that we have provided. Right, this sounds great. Let's move to the next chart. And the other thing we can actually use here is usage of the microphone. Well, this feature is not, revolutionary. It just provides you with an option to actually spell what you want to write, and it will kind of understand what you're saying and will transform your speech right here at the bottom. So as you can see, whatever I actually said, it actually typed it right here. So you can just click enter and it will automatically go and ask the model if they've spoken. So you don't really need to type it. You can actually speak it as you would do in like other apps, etc. Well, the difference between ChatGPT though, here in Gemini app, you can't really talk to a model, maybe a limit. But there are other ways to actually communicate and talk through the speech with the models that we're going to take a look a little bit later. All right, another thing. So here, as you can find all the previous chats and, access all the previous chats. The only difference though is if you're on a free tier and you're using some, older chats, for example, here I made a deep research query, which was available in the free tier. And now I sort of have a deep research here as well, but I have a limit. Probably I've actually gone through other chats which are not deep research based. For example, can you embed audio in Gamma? And here it just says how to do that. But if I want to keep communicating with this chat, I have to upgrade to Gemini Advanced. And probably this is another limitation that we have if you're on a free tier. If you want to access the older chats and actually continue chatting with the older chats. So Gemini Advanced actually looks like this. So the only difference here, it doesn't have this button, Gemini Advanced, and you can pretty much have the same models here. They were kind of noted as new for Gemini Advanced. They're noted as, current models. You have all your previous chats saved right here. You can actually close that if you want, and you have the gems activity, pretty much the same setting as before. So nothing really much different between the free tier or paid tier. You only really have like those rate limits that you need to keep in mind. Right, the next thing that I wanted to show you is using the deep research feature. So deep research actually allows the model to think much more deeply on certain things just before providing you with the output. Basically, it's an agentic framework that analyzes the query that you provide and thinks step by step with multiple different agents interacting within each other. It can also search the web, it can search on Google, it can search on YouTube, on any other services. It will gather information based on your query, create like the search plan for you, and will output a large document with a lot of information. So for this, usually they would suggest to go with 2.5 Pro because it's kind of a latest model, but you can also use Flash as well, or which is a little bit faster, 2.0 or 2.5. But for deep research, we can actually ask anything pretty much we want to research. For example, I would be interested in researching how to improve the quality of my YouTube channel, to increase the viewability, to increase the clickability, to increase the amount of followers on my YouTube channel. And I can say, hey, can you analyze Maksims YouTube channel and suggest growth strategy for the channel in the next 6? Okay. So what's going to happen next? Now, the research agent that we have right now, it will generate us an outline how it plans to approach this question. Let's actually take a look. Now we have here, so here's the plan. Research websites, access the channel's primary niche target audience, analyze the channel's existing content, evaluate audience engagement metrics, identify the channel's mostly successful videos, and etc. So if you're happy with this kind of outline for you can go with start research, or you can add a plan and say, hey, I want you to explicitly focus on competitors and trending topic. And now it's gonna redo the plan, including what you have requested. Let's wait a second. now we have a new plan. Now it has in-depth analysis competitors, and it probably have added the trending topics. So if we're happy with this one, we can go and click start research. So once we start research, it will actually separate document right here on the right that will be popping up and generating while we're going. And this would usually take you something like from 5 to 20 minutes or 30 minutes. Yes, it's a little bit longer, so be patient, but the quality of response is much better. And as you can see here, you can see this thinking mode, so the way it actually thinks about it, and you can switch to sites browse. So now it's actually, we have researched like 26 websites, and it will keep adding the websites as long as it goes, and just to see how many resources actually taken into account, etc. So and now we can see it's already kind of researched like 66 websites and keep going. In order to save time, I have already generated it before, so let's actually take a look how the final output looks. So I had this prompt. I wanted to research channels, suggest strategies to improve the results. The results are evaluated by 2 KPIs, number of views and number of followers. So I have added a little bit more information, but the general structure of the prompt. And this is what it has generated to me. So once the result is here, what we can do is, first, we can generate an audio overview if we want to. I'm not going to do this right now because it will take a lot of time. You can copy paste that, and we can actually see how big of a response, right? And at the end, at the very end, you can see all the sources that it actually found. What are more interesting things? So there are sources read but not added to the final report, just because there are many irrelevant things that we actually accessed. And the other thing is the thought. So you can actually go and see the way it actually researched this, just to make sure, just to check and make sure it didn't make a mistake or apparently assume something wrongly. And the other point here is we can export this document to Google Docs. So we click this and wait a little bit. So it's actually loading. So once it is loaded, I've already done this. So this is what we got. Basically, we've got a document of 21 pages. You can see all the references are cited right here. You can see the navigation, and basically the very detailed plan. And it goes with executive summary, it goes with current channel assessment, the way probably approach this question. It has made a SWOT analysis for me, competitive landscape. It has analyzed best practices, competitors table, everything you would probably need to actually make and think about your content. Probably once I finish this video, I'll go and read this to make sure my channel actually follows the best practices that this guy has suggested. But I mean, the quality of this response is just way better than what we would get from like simple answer like Gemini 2.0 Flash or even like 2.5 Pro. Deep research feature is really golden, and you should use it whenever you can. Just make sure if you're on a free plan, you have a limit of, I'm not sure how many, like few searches per month. If you're on a paid plan, I think you have like up to like 20 deep research queries. Maybe I missed, but you have many more than, but it's very useful. I really suggest you try. Right, so once we get there, we can go back and actually start a new chat. And the other feature that I wanted to show you is basically Canvas. So Canvas, what Canvas is allowed, similar as the Canvas in ChatGPT, we can say, can you generate me an email for our partner that wants to negotiate prices down. We do not want to provide discount, and let's tell it to add arguments. And we just press this Canvas button. Canvas button is essentially a tool that this model uses so that we can generate in the format that we can add it straight away. So now, instead of adding this into the chat, which we cannot actually add it here, we can pretty much edit anything. I can add whatever other things I want here, so that next time I want to easily like copy paste that into my email if I want to. Again, I can export it to Google Documents. That was the same as before. I can select certain things, delete those, or make them bold, italic, in bullet points, so that I can work actually in the document, make it the final way I want to look at to, and just copy paste it into my email or the blog post or anywhere else. This is actually saved on the Google Drive, and you can return back all the changes while you're actually working, which is, again, pretty nice. You can also use different styles of the heading. Another thing that's pretty similar to ChatGPT, you can pre-select this thing, and You can say rewrite using emojis so that, it should actually focus just on this sentence and just rewrite it using emojis. It's not necessary now to prompt it to regenerate the whole document. You can just tell it to regenerate it on specific sentences or paragraphs. Here you can also go and change length the same. If you want to make it a little bit shorter because that's an email, you would just click short, and now it will regenerate the whole email and just make it shorter. By the way, which is really nice, it just kept those emojis inside, which is pretty nice. You can change the tone and say, let's be a little bit more casual, or you can go into the other way around. You can go to be really, really formal. So if you're talking about, let's say, agreement, you would probably want to stick to the formal format. And you can do suggest edits. And basically the suggest edits will review the document and suggest improvements in terms of like language or punctuation or any other thing. So let's actually take a look how that works. So it says, just for this, just one. This paragraph is written in extremely casual tone, which is inconsistent with the rest of the. So okay, it suggests that we probably have to redo this guy. It has emojis, but the rest is a little bit different, so it doesn't suit that particular email. So the beauty of the canvas essentially is that you can pretty much work on your documents within the chat window. You can edit them the way you actually want. You can use AI to edit particular parts or apply it to kind of the whole document without regenerating the whole thing. It all saved on Google Drive, so the changes are trackable, and you can export the final output to your Gmail or Docs or whenever you want. So that's pretty cool, and that's very much similar to what we have in Chat. All right, another cool feature we can actually make with Canvas is not only generating and working with text, but we can also working with code. For example, we can hit the button Canvas and say, generate me a snake game. The cool part about this guy is that it's gonna write a code for the snake game in Canvas. Unfortunately, it can help you write a snake game. Yeah, let's try now. So now we're gonna be using the Canvas. I'm not sure why it didn't use it on the first try. But now, as we can see here, it's actually writing the code for me. And what is pretty cool here is it's a little bit different setup. So now we've got the code view, and we can actually have a preview view after it's generating the whole code. And it's pretty neat because it has additional features. So once we hit the preview, basically what happens is we can execute the code straight within the chat. And this is pretty nice. Now I can actually hit start and actually play the game, and the game actually working, which is pretty nice. I can navigate with this one, and once I fail, I click OK and I can hit restart. This is pretty nice because I can refresh it. I can go to the code and change something in the code here, and when I hit preview, it's still working though, but there's probably should be a mistake. But we can actually show the console if we need to execute some commands here and see what we get. We can show recent changes. Basically here I have entered something and erased it, and again I can go and ask to provide like more comments or explain different functions, or regenerate the colors of the code and see it in preview straight away and actually play the game, which is really nice. And I really love that you can execute and test it on your go basically. Right, so the other thing you can actually do in your Gemini is you can actually generate an audio overview of any document or file. So if you go back and you select your files, and for example, I have chain of thought file, PDF file, that's a research paper, and I can say, generate me an audio overview. What is going to happen next is basically we'll get a sort of like a podcast, like from NotebookLM that I'm going to talk about a little bit later from this document. So let's actually take some time to see what results we're actually getting. All right, so the audio has been finalized. It took about like a few minutes, I think like 2 to 4 or 5 minutes maybe. So let's actually take a listen what it is about.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're digging into something pretty interesting in the AI world.
Yeah, it's all about getting these big language models to actually, well, reason.
Exactly. We're looking at a research paper on chain of thought prompting. The whole idea is, how do we unlock that deeper thinking?
In the paper, chain of thought prompting elicits...
Okay, so beyond math, what about common sense or symbols?
Chain of thought helped Paul...
Well, I think you got an idea, right? So it's pretty nice. You can generate sort of a podcast. You can generate sort of a podcast straight in the chat, right? Let's go here. Another cool feature that you can use it for is generating images. Generate an image of new sneakers with name, let's go, Maksims on it. So here I just wanted to show you that it can also work with different tags on the image as well. And specifically, it would be nice if you would be adding the tags in the parentheses That way it can actually understand that's the text we want to put on the image. And here we go. So we've got new sneakers, quite realistic image, and it says Maksims as the name of the sneakers. Here it probably should be Nike Air or something, but of course it is trained on different images online, so some of these sneakers might be similar to the original ones for sure. All right, and let's actually talk a little bit about the models. So here we have 2.0 Flash, which is basically a basic model for everyday tasks. But I would suggest you using 2.5 Flash just because it's basically the same model in terms of like quickness, in terms of the responses, but it's just more advanced model. So 2.5 has better benchmarks, has better scores. So rather than using 2.0 Flash, you would be using 2.5 Flash at all times. Now then we have 2.5 Pro Experimental. So this is the reasoning model. Well, 2.5 Flash also uses reasoning as well, but it's pretty fast in terms of like response time. 2.5 Pro is actually a slower model. So if you need advanced reasoner or analyst for your task, for example, analyzing the data, generating complicated formulas, or doing some math research, or some specific scientific research or stuff like this, you would probably use advanced reasoning model like 2.5 Pro. If you need it for daily tasks like generating an email or iterating over like some text, 2.0 Flash or 2.5 Flash should be totally enough for you. So don't overcomplicate stuff with using two advanced models for simple basic stuff. And then the last thing is deep research. Basically, whenever you have to make a deep analysis and dig deep into certain topic, then you would probably be using deep research, which is again really nice model, but it's probably not applicable for like daily operational tasks that would take us like a few minutes to do, right? So here is the difference between the model. And now if you want to work with different apps, and this is where the golden kind of features come from Google actually. And in order to turn on the Google Workspace apps for Gemini, this is basically where golden nuggets are actually coming for Google. We need to go to admin console for this guy. So we go to our account, we go to admin console. Here in the admin console, we need to enter the password. And then basically where we go to generative AI, we go to Gemini App. And here you have apps basically. And so now, since whatever is this April 2nd, Gemini for Workspace apps will be turned on by default. If you don't have it, you have to go there and you should tick allow access to Workspace apps in beta and after beta and click save. Then basically you will get this access if you don't have it yet. So it should be turned on by default since like April 2nd, and that's the email they've sent. If you have a corporate account where you're using Google Workspace, basically, this will be turned on for you by default, and you will have access to Gemini AI features as well. And also they've sent on May 1st that all the AI features now will be included in your Google Workspace account. Yes, you will have to pay a little bit more. The updated price will be like $22 per user per month, and now I was paying like something like $20 or so. I don't remember exactly, but the cool part is that you don't need to separately pay for your Gemini Advanced. So if I'm on a personal account and I want to buy Gemini Advanced, I click here, and here I will have to pay like $22 per month for the personal account. But if I have a corporate account, then it's already included in the price that I'm paying from a corporate account. It will only be a little bit more expensive for like a few bucks or so, but all the features are inside there. And this is pretty nice. Let's actually take a look what we can use it for if we have a Google Workspace account. So now I'm on my professional Google Workspace account, and it's paid, so I can access all the different features. I can use the same Gemini app, but the difference is that now I can use this symbol, add symbol, to access different apps. And this is amazing. So for example, I can go to my Gmail account and I can go to my calendar. For example, here is my calendar, and I'm not using this Google Calendar for my corporate purposes, but I can go and say here, meeting with client, for example. That will be activity for Tuesday. So instead of me, going to my calendar, I can stay within chat and I can prompt Google Calendar and ask at what time I meet my client this week. So instead of me going and checking the calendar, I can always stay within the chat and have an AI assistant that will have access to my Gmail, to my calendar, to my workspace, and help me with any questions. So here you go. So you have a meeting with your client scheduled May 6, 11:30 to 3. And if you go to the calendar, it's exactly 11:30 to 3. That's pretty amazing. So you can use it for calendar. You can actually prompt it, can you book another meeting for me? Meeting for me, May 6, 4 p.m., 4 to 5 p.m. Let's see if it can do that for me. So again, it has an access. It needs a title. So let's say meeting with a client. Let's go very simple. Meeting with a client. Okay. Now let me put it in the parentheses so it kind of understands that that's the name of the meeting. Okay. Your meeting title, meeting with a client on Tuesday, have been added to your calendar. So if you go to the calendar, I can actually see that meeting being placed on my calendar, and I didn't do it myself. So the AI assistant has done it for me. Isn't that pretty nice? I mean, it's pretty cool. So you can chat to your Gemini and it will do that for you instantly right here. Okay, so you can use it pretty much with like calendar for any references, and this is really golden. This is really nice. But it's not only, you can use your Google Keep. I'm not sure if anybody uses like Google Keep or Google Task. I'm actually not using it, so I'm gonna skip that part. Let's go for Gmail and ask, can you check what we are left off with the client RMS forums, for example. So that's one of the emails that's probably in my inbox. Let me actually find it. Okay, so with this client, we have a couple emails right here. So let's see what it can help me. Here's the summary of your communication with RMS forums. March 18, this thing, March 7, February 22nd, February 25. So basically now it was able to access my inbox, and basically it has gone with through all the emails basically and found the information that was there, extracted that, and provided me the short summary, which is really, really nice. Now I can ask it, and can you generate me a response to the last email from RMS forums and send it to my email. Let's do it to my email. I don't want to send it to somebody's email yet. You would probably go and just generate it as draft, but here, for example, dear Liti Matisan, thank you for an invitation to speak. Could you provide an estimated number of participants? Note this information. Look forward from you to hearing soon. Okay. I mean, pretty nice. I mean, it can actually access the email, create an email for you, and then it probably can also send. I think it doesn't send the emails yet because previously I've tried it and it didn't work, but you can save it as draft and send it yourself. Just for the security reasons, I think it doesn't do that yet, but that's pretty nice. I wouldn't want it to be sending emails on my behalf as well without my approval too. Right, that's the email. So you can actually access your Gmail account, all your emails, and think about it, accessing your Gmail accounts and just typing here a certain thing, finding that inbox, extracting the information and helping you out. So that's pretty cool. Another thing, what we can do is we can actually go to our Google Drive or even like Workspace, because Workspace covers like basically everything you have, or Google Drive, and you can say, find all the information I have about client Evo Pipes, for example. So that's one of the clients I've been working with. And now I want to access my Google Drive and get me all the information I have about this client, just because I need to kind of get on what we're going to be working with. So again, that's another use case. So here's the information that the clients in your Google Drive. We got a presentation of a pipes prompt, includes social media copy prompts, etc. There is also a spreadsheet named output, a related CSV file output. It also lists no clear information that's specifically related to Evo Pipes. Okay, it found actually 2 files. Let's actually go to our Google Drive and see if we have any information on the client Evo Pipes. So if we go Evo Pipes prompts and output, didn't find the file messages for some reason. I'm not sure why. But these 2 files, those are actually like Google Drive messages that I have in a certain format, and I had a communication with a client and basically found the name Evo Pipes in those messages. So it not only looks for the files as for the names, it actually looks inside the files, which is crazy nice. I mean, it can able to kind of gather, like research all the drive that you have and find the right exact information you need. So how cool is that? I'm pretty nice. You can use it, and it's amazing use case, I guess. Let's get back to our Gemini. Another thing what you can do, you can go and say for Google Docs, for example, and I can say, can you prepare a cooperation offer for a client based on some other offers? And basically now I'm asking to go to the Workspace, and now you can see it's connecting to Workspace. It's looking for other cooperation offers that I have, and I need to prepare an offer for a new client. I didn't provide any specific detail, but let's see what it comes up with, because I want to have like Google Doc file that I can use as the first draft to send the offer to my client. All right, so it says I found several cooperation offers. Here you go. These documents, common information. So draft, refine, and get suggestions or report with Canvas. Generate me a Google Doc file like mystery box. Cooperation offer just for the client, Let's go with the name Maksims, Sics, for example. Okay, so now it actually says it can't generate the Google Docs file from here. Unfortunately, it can find you the right files, and here you can basically go and access that file straight in the chat. It can extract the information from it, and it can generate the offer here in the chat, but it doesn't generate the Google Docs, unfortunately. Well, that's fine. We have a turnaround for that as well. Right, and one more thing you can actually do in your Gemini is basically create your own like gems or custom GPTs. Those are like personal assistants that are pre-fed with your custom knowledge and have a system prompt to assist you within certain tasks. So for example, here you can have some pre-created gems like Brainstormer, Career Guide, or some others, but you can go to Gem Manager basically. And here, as you can see, I have only one gem created. We can go and hit new gem. We can create it as the name. So let me say personal assistant, whatever, in Latvian law, for example. Here we provide examples, and for this one I have a prompt that is pre-created already, and we're not gonna go through the prompt today, but that's basically Latvian working law assistant. Here we can add the knowledge base, so we can add some file references that the model will need to use whenever replying to our message. So here we need to add those files, and if I hit enter, I can only add up to 10 different files. So I can't add 20 files. I think in ChatGPT the limit is 20. For the custom GPTs, for gems, you can add only 10 different files. Well, okay, let's take I will take these 10 files, not all the files, right inside, and we just click save. So it has some prompting inside. You can use AI to help you write the chat, but you can also chat within your assistant. So personal assistant Latvian law, I can ask, how can I fire an employee according to Latvian law? Okay, and let's see if it provides me with any reference. Okay, so as you can see, personal assistant Latvia, it actually reads the documents for us. It actually reasons through, which is pretty nice, and it answers though in Latvian. But what is interesting is here it provides exactly the source what it got it from, and it says what was exactly the clause of the agreement 101, the first part, which is pretty nice, and it also cites the first part. This is basically the way I also prompted it to provide the source for each of the responses, and here it's kind of in short and human language explains what it is. So that's pretty nice. You can create your own gems on your company data, and thinking about, you have your internal procedures, documents, you have whatever regulars that you need to reference, and you can pre-create basically an assistant that will always help you with that. Go through the files, have a custom prompt, and you don't need to redo this every single time. All right, and those are pretty old features that you can do in the Gemini app, but that's not the only thing. The coolest part is that all the Google AI features are applicable to all your Workspace accounts, and now we're gonna explore some of these. So let's, for example, go back to our file where we had our YouTube channel growth strategy. Let's actually open a new file. And now basically, whenever you're using Google Files, you will have this icon popped up on the right corner, which says Ask Gemini. So now you can first of all ask Gemini a certain thing from your Google Workspace, but also by default, you will have those things apply to your account. So you can have generate document or help me write. So if I click generate document, I can say, generate me a cooperation offer based on some other offers I have in my G Drive. Okay, And here I can reference mystery box, for example, offer. Let me go with cooperation offer. So now we have mystery box, and let's actually create and see what it comes up with. So synthesizing knowledge, it can access my DAT file that was right here and generate an offer. Well, I think the only thing it does not replicate is the formatting. So here, as you can see, it has added this picture. If I go originally to the file that I had there was no image, so I'm going to delete the image. And the format of it is a little bit different. It still has 3 headers, which is correct. That's exactly in that file, but this was aligned to the center, etc. But still pretty good. So it was able to access that file, regenerate the offer, take all the information from there and generate it, which is pretty nice. Okay. So another thing, you can go with help me write, and then again, you can say what you want it to help you write instead of you switching back to Gemini and ask it to. In Gemini, you can have basically your AI assistant straight in the Word document, which is pretty nice for any writing, whatever, write me a joke, for example. You can have it right here in Word and you click insert. So why don't some scientists trust atoms? Because they make up everything, of course. So that's pretty cool. Another thing is here, I can enter a prompt and I can again create an outline, brainstorm ideas, or do any other stuff. Basically similarly that we had in the very beginning, or reference few files. For example, I can go and say, let's click the add sign and let's find let's say YouTube channel growth strategy. So we can go based on this document, generate me an outline for presentation on YouTube growth strategy. Okay. So pretty cool thing is that you can play with different files within your document. So now, absolutely based on the YouTube files, here you go basically current channel assessment, blah, 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 blah. And now once it finally generated this, we should be able to insert that information into the Word file that we're currently working in. Okay, so now it has generated actually a lot of text. So we can click insert. And once we click insert, all that information is straight in the file, which is pretty nice. So some other things you can actually do here. First of all, you can expand it so that's a little bit more visible, but also you can clear the history to start a new conversation. You can ask for more suggestions, what it can do. You can ask, write, generate outline, etc. You can send feedback and report. And also here, there is an option after this one to insert the files that you have, but also preview and search on Google. So some another quality of life features that you can use straight in the Google Docs. So another thing is basically using Google Sheets files. And for Google Sheets, similarly as before, in the right corner, you will have this file. And now you can use your AI to actually help you with Google Sheets. So you can go and say, can you please review all the offers that we have and generate a table with the customer name, price, and VAT. Okay, so let's see if it can actually. Okay, it didn't search on the workspace and it provides me to insert a table, but we're gonna close that because it didn't search for the files. But now what I wanted to do, I wanted to search for cooperation offers. So I'm gonna go with this guy. Let's say we take this guy, we take this guy, we take some other ones. Let's do this guy, let's do this guy. For example, 3 would be enough. And I want you to generate me a table with all the custom offers, price, name of the client, and VAT. Okay, based on the files that we have provided. And I think the unique part of this Gemini is basically the way it can reference different documents and provide you with quite flexible usage across Google Workspace. What we can see here, it has created a table. We've got 4 names of the clients, we got the prices of the clients, but VAT we don't have. Basically what it has created, if it has VAT or not, because some of the clients were working from abroad, so VAT was not applied. So instead of saying exactly what the VAT rate here is, it says if there is VAT or not. But the pretty cool stuff is that manually we don't need to go through each and every file. We can actually send AI assistants to review all the files and to provide us with a table straight here. And we can go here and say, let's actually sum the whole thing. And we can work with these files. That's pretty like incredible, right? You don't need any more to actually manually go and click through the files. You can have AI assistant access all the files you want. You just need to provide enough reference for it to access those files. This is amazing in my opinion. And again, here you can insert, copy, you can search it on Google. And once again, here we have basically the same thing. The cool part is you can use it in your native apps. So you've got Google Docs, you've got Google Sheets. Let's actually take a look how it works in the Google Slides. So for Google Slides, it would be nice also that I can say, generate me a presentation based on the customer offer. And then I go with whatever cooperation offer was there. Let's say this one, and let's see how it handles it. So whether it can generate me a presentation based on that. So it's present for cash flow forecasting, financial marketing. Put this information on slides that I can send to client. Okay, so let's see if we can handle that. Okay, so now it has generated me a certain slide, which looks fine, but let me actually see if it does have any information about the client. It actually does not. So, okay, it failed on this one. And actually previously I didn't find it quite useful for the slides as well. When I was testing it, I was able to put the information on the slides, but the design was just, you know, regular one. It was just headline and the body of the text and nothing really else. It provided the outline, like 3 outline items for the general, you know, customer approach, but there was nothing related to my client that I have here. So unfortunately, in the slides, I didn't find it to be very, very useful. It can extract the information from the slides to use for the text responses, etc. But as for, you know, creation of the presentations, I didn't find it to be very, very useful, but I'm not sure exactly 100% that I'm using it right. So if you guys have used it before, comment down below and tell me what are the use cases and how I should have used this model for the Google slide. Right, and once we have that, we can also go to our Gmail. And in the Gmail, if you create now a new email and you have AI features enabled for your Google Workspace account, now you will be able to use this symbol that help me write. And help me write, again, the same as it was in Word, it will provide you with an option to generate an email straight away. Well, instead of this guy, I can generate a new email, but I can also go and reply and say, let's click this guy, generate or just go reply to this email, okay? And it will generate me a reply to the whole email thread. So I don't need to read this whole thing, and it will generate it straight here. I say insert, and basically I have it. I can press send button. So I don't need to write the emails anymore myself. I can pretty much have all my emails here in Google account. I will click here to generate the response with the AI. And now here, after this email is created, I can hit polish, formalize, elaborate. Let's do, for example, shorten, because that's too long, okay? So it's gonna regenerate. Okay, now there is a shorter version. So let's insert. Well, again, now this one is inserted under this one, so I have to delete the previous one. And you can use it and write and reply to all the emails with AI really, really quickly. That's really nice. Now you don't need to read the whole thing. Again, you can ask AI to summarize the whole thing if you want to, but that's kind of up to you. And in Gmail as well, of course, we can go right here and we can say, generate me an email to a client to whom I will be sending this offer. And again, let's use our standard offer. Let's say whatever this offer is. And now it should be able to generate an email for me. I think that's going to be just contact. Okay, so, and I'll probably need to just, you know, copy paste that, or I can go here and click insert and it will insert that email here so that we can send it. But that's pretty nice. Again, I can reference the document, it will draft an email for me. And here I can go and say, let's actually, let's polish that email. Okay, and now it will regenerate. We're going to insert that and we need to erase the previous one. Okay, so that's how it works. And in Gmail, again, it's pretty nice that you can have all the long email threads to be kind of summarized with AI for you real quick, and you can pretty much pre-generate the responses that you don't need to write it manually by hand. Right, and one more thing that we can use with this one is called NotebookLM. So if you go to NotebookLM, you can try NotebookLM. And by the way, I have a video about more detailed deep dive on NotebookLM somewhere here, so make sure you follow it. But we select our premium account, we create new, And now basically, this is a service that will help you out to generate any type of the podcasts on your data. So again, here we can select all the different, documents, which is pretty nice. Once the documents are uploaded, we can generate a podcast based on the kind of the Latvian law, etc. What is pretty cool here, we can also click discover, and basically it will search for different sources of the documents that you might need. A more detailed deep dive on NotebookLM is actually will be here and linked. It will be down in the description, so I suggest use it. I'm not gonna do it right now. It's a pretty nice app. It allows you also to talk to your documents and analyze it, but we're not gonna do it right here today. And the last thing I wanted to show you that you have natively in your Google is called Google AI Studio, and this is actually doesn't come with the paid feature. It's actually free for everyone right now. You don't really need even to be on a paid plan, so I'm on a private plan here. But the cool part in the Google AI Studio, it's a little bit more professional. It may be tended towards like developers rather than users, but it's free of charge and it allows you to do a lot of things that you're not allowed to do in the Gemini before. So first of all, here you can pretty much select any other model that you would be looking to use. You can use Gemini 2.5, 2.0, Gamma, or some other models, which is pretty nice. You can select the temperature, thinking mode, set thinking budget, and the thinking budget is basically saying how many tokens are used per one thinking node. So that way you can actually limit how much you're actually using the model. Here, which is pretty cool, you can quickly get to the API key if you want to use a specific model. You can select it to provide structured output in the JSON format, use the code execution tool, function calling, or enable the Google search for the model natively. And there are some other settings, but the cool part that I wanted to show you right here is, first of all, here for the model, you can provide your own system instructions. So if you want to model respond with one single word or call you boss or whatever other things you come up with as a system instruction, that will come before any user prompt. You can set it up right here. You can get a template. You can compare it with like the responses of different models. So we can pre-select and test it, how it works. So this is basically AI Studio that will help like more developers to actually work on your production apps and use different features to compare the outputs. But the thing that I personally like the most about this one, and this is for the chat features, is the streaming service. So here, what we can do is basically we can go through the talk, webcam, or share screen. And I would usually go and share screen, and I would pre-select like the entire screen. And let me go with this one, for example, and I can talk to it. And I say, hey, how's it going?
How was what specifically?
Well, I'm just asking whether you're fine or not.
Oh, okay. I am doing well. Thank you for asking. How are you?
Right, I'm trying to create a signature for my email, but I'm struggling to do so that it automatically pops up on each and every email. How can I do that?
Okay. I see you're having trouble creating an email signature that automatically appears in your outgoing emails. Which email service are you using?
I'm using Gmail, and you can take my screen. I'm currently in my email inbox.
Thanks. I can see your screen now. Have you tried accessing the settings menu in Gmail to create and set up your signature?
No, I haven't. Tell me exactly what I should do.
Let's get this done. In the top right corner of your Gmail interface, do you see a gear icon?
Yes, I do.
Great. Click on it and select See All Settings.
Okay, done. What's next?
Got it. Now scroll down until you find the signature section.
Sorry, I can't find it. Can you help me out?
Certainly. I see that you're in the settings menu. It looks like you need to scroll down further. It's located towards the bottom of the General tab. Can you see it now?
Still can't see it. Where is it?
Okay, I see you found it. Can you click on the Create New button to start creating your signature?
No. Sorry, I can't find it. Where is that?
My apologies. It appears you did find it the first time. I can see the Create New button for signatures on your screen. You will need to click that button to proceed. After clicking Create New, you'll be prompted to enter a name for your signature. Would you like me to guide you through the next steps after that?
Yeah, I created a name of it. So what's next?
I see you have named it Maksims Sics. Now, enter the text you want to include in your signature in the text box to the right. Once that's done, You can set when you want to use this signature in the signature defaults section right below. Does that make sense?
Yeah, thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Is there anything else I can assist you with today?
All right, I think you got the idea. So that's really, really cool stuff, because here we can just, I'm using it quite often because I'm struggling, if I need to edit a code or add something, or I'm struggling with like Google settings or whatever other things that I'm not really kind of using on a daily basis. You can basically hop into this service. It's free of charge, share your screen and just chat and ask it. It's like, your IT guys sitting like next to you and guiding you through. This is amazing stuff, and I suggest all of you try it, because it will help with a lot of stuff, even like with analysis or sheets or formatting anything. You pretty much have your assistant next to you sitting and watching your screen. This is amazing. And the last thing I wanted to show you is basically the video gen. So video gen is a new VO2 model that was released for everyone to use, and this is probably one of the best models on the market by now, and we can ask it to generate a video about anything we wish. So let me ask to generate a video, generate an animation of my company logo, Flowbyte AI. So now I'm gonna add an image of my company logo. Let me go sample media. No, let me go upload an image. So I've updated my company logo, and let's actually generate an animation of it. Again, this one probably will take a few minutes because the image generation will be actually for 8 seconds. It's 720 pixel quality. So 24 FPS, the quality is actually good enough. It will not be able to generate videos of real people, and there's just, because there are a lot of like ethical bias and things like that. But you can generate the images of, animals or, some cartoons or some other stuff. And those videos are really, really realistic. And the cool part, you can also provide the reference images for the video to generate. So now this one has been generating for like 40 seconds already. Let's wait until it's done, and let's see what the results we're gonna get. All right, so the video has been generated. Let's actually take a look. Okay, so it seems like, okay, so the animation happened only at the end. But it's really good. I can use this one for like any company videos starting from second 6. It's nice. It's disappearing. Of course, it's not showing up. I would probably want it like to show up, and I might explain it in more detail what I want it to look like. But just from this kind of 0-shot prompt, it's already looking amazing. And you can play with it if you need any videos. You can take like an image of your company, of your employee, like. You can really generate a video of your employees or other people, but the logos or animations or stuff like that, that's possible. So I really like that, and that's available for everyone. Because if you want to use this through the API, you can actually do that. I think here the API for VO2 is available as well. Just before, I was trying to use that from other services like Fall.ai, and again, you not always get what you actually want to get, so you need to play with it. That was quite expensive. A couple other things. So here you will have a history of your chats that you can access. There are some starter apps that you can explore and play for yourself, or you can create apps for yourself as well, which is pretty nice. You can have a dashboard for your API keys right here. You can access documentation to read about it, and here there are a couple settings that you don't really need. Actually, one more thing, you can download an app for your iPhone or Android on your phone. And here you can go to Gemini, and I'll show you on the screen what it looks like. And here in the app, we can use it regularly as you would use it in the Gemini app. How is it going, for example? You can ask it and it will just reply. You can pre-select different models on the very top. Probably before you start. So if you go back here, you can pre-select different models. You get Flash 2.4, Experimental, and Pro. You don't have like deep research yet here. If you click on the chat icon on the left upper side, you can access all the previous chats that you have. You can click the Gemini's positive status check, for example. That was the chat that it has created. Again, if we hit Google, it's gonna go on Google and actually check the response. But you can also hit on the triple points. And here's the difference from the regular chat, that you can actually go, and first of all, you have other drafts. So essentially you can have more than one response created by default. So you can have either this one or this one. So if you like this one a little bit more, you can click this one and that's what you got. So instead of one response, you get 2 responses straight away. And the other one is, first of all, is modify responses. So before that, in the regular app, we don't have this option, but here we can make the response a little bit longer and you can have your AI actually regenerated. These features are available for whatever reason only in the app. They are not available in the Gemini app through the desktop. But hey, you know, if you generate it in a canvas, you can still do that and access the same thing. And other than that, you can draft it in Gmail export to docs. That was basically the same as we could do in the Gemini app on desktop. So there's no much difference here. And yeah, and basically you can go, and also the last thing is you can talk to it. So you can say, hey Gemini, how is it going? What's on your mind? Basically, instead of me again typing the whole thing, we can ask the AI to actually listen to our speech and convert the speech to the text so that we can quickly write our prompts instead of, you know, writing in manual by hand. We can write it with our speech, right? And then I get some sort of response.
Hey there, how is it going for you this afternoon in Riga? And more importantly, what's on your mind? Is there anything specific?
Okay, I think you got the idea. So if I ask it by voice, it can also respond me by voice and read what it has responded. However, you can't kind of live chat it as you can in the AI Studio. Unfortunately, you can't do this in the Gemini, but you can do this straight in the phone with kind of your voice, etc. So yeah, I think that's another pretty cool feature that you can use it on your phone whenever you need on the go. And that's it. I think I covered most of the features, if not all, that Google AI actually offering to you, be it on your Google Workspace or your personal drive, in accessing different apps. You can have your Gemini account, you can have Google AI for Workspace, you can have NotebookLM, you can have Google AI Studio. Basically, all of those have different AI features that you can use right now to boost your productivity in 2025 and onwards. And those features are really kind of starting to roll out. They're getting better and better every day. And if you start using them right now, by the end of the year, the features will be more advanced. And if you're using them already, you're going to be much more productive in the next year. So make sure to start using them now and leave a comment down below if you found it useful, if you tried one of these, and what was your result. Happy to hear from you guys. That's the Gemini Advanced in action, drafting, designing, coding, and analyzing right inside Google's Workspace. If today's walkthrough leveled up your workflow, hit subscribe button and ring the bell for weekly AI productivity hacks. Drop your questions or feature requests in the comments below, and I'll cover this in the next upcoming video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.